Around 2 a.m. this morning, whoever this is decided it would be fun to throw some very interesting liquid that had been tampered with onto what he thought was Sam Altman's house. And this in itself is kind of shocking. It's jarring relative to anyone who knows about AI or reads too much about AI on Twitter every day. And I hate to say it, but a lot of us who are willing to think somewhere in the middle or think moderately about both sides of this issue knew this was coming for a long time. And in this video, I want to cover this story. There are a number of other stories that will key into a longer form video I'm making. But I want to talk about why this is important and why local AI enthusiasts like ourselves can be an important voice in understanding why people who aren't like us think this. Welcome to AI Flux. Let's get into it. So this person was identified as the person who threw a spicy beverage onto Sam Altman's home in SF. And first off, for just the algorithm, you should never do this, and I don't condone any activity I'm going to discuss in this video. And unfortunately, people have done worse than this already to local politicians who have had certain ideas about data centers and where they should go. Mission Local Now, which is at ML Now on X, kind of funny in its own right, reported that the San Francisco police this morning arrested a young suspect accused of tossing a cocktail at the home of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. Police recognized this person in the photo and supposedly have detained him, and that's pretty much all we know for the moment. The big news was pretty much just that this happened, and in theory that it happened actually at Sam Altman's house. So in a department-wide email, San Francisco police officers were this morning sent a photo of a young male suspect accused of tossing a cocktail at the Russian Hill home of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. Now, it's known that Sam Altman owns more than 4 or 5 properties in the SF area, and he has security. So the fact that this happened in the first place is kind of crazy. And it looks like he also allegedly made threats to down OpenAI's Mission Bay headquarters. And what's interesting about this is I actually used to live really close to the headquarters in Mission Bay. They say in this photo obtained by Mission Local, the man wears a light-colored hoodie and sweatpants. He stands in front of a white SUV holding what appears to be a bottle in one hand. And a couple of hours later, officers recognized this person from the photo and arrested him for allegedly tossing at Altman's house and purportedly threatening to all of Altman's company, which is OpenAI. So if the police know about this person, it's likely this is someone who has had some interaction with SFPD or kind of the outer portions of the law before. So they claim that this person is between 20 and 25 years old. His age is not actually verified. They've obviously obscured the actual face of this person, but the photo supposedly shows their actual face. This whole incident happened at 3:45 a.m. Pacific time, where they say an unidentified individual approached Sam Altman's residence and threw a device towards the property. And again, you should not do this. The device landed nearby and was quickly extinguished, so there were no injuries, only minimal property damage. And I think there's also an accompanying public announcement from OpenAI. So this was reported as a fire. Someone did this, and obviously this is bad. It looks like this was a premeditated threat. This was meant to garner attention, and there have been a number of other kind of events like this in the past week alone. And what I want to talk about in this video very briefly is kind of how we got here. There's a lot to be said about why some people are disheartened, scared, or mad about how the last year has gone, and more importantly, how quickly things have accelerated. The two big parties that I think are in play here are what I would, on the accelerationist side, kind of put EAC and SF kind of tech people, and little tech. And little tech is distinct from big tech because little tech has quickly ascended to power and managed to get their claws into the government of our nation in a very unique way that hasn't really happened before. By this, I mean Palantir, I mean, in some ways, XAI. There have been a lot of interesting things with who's getting contracts in government and how we decide who is, quote unquote, a supply chain threat to our government. So that's one side. These are people who want AI to develop as fast as possible, want to promulgate this message that there will be no negatives for anyone, and that the only thing that can come from AI and AGI, which Dario at Anthropic claims to have found 16 times, they claim that these things will only be good. And the other group are people who, to be fair, don't understand how this technology works, but are starting to understand its implications. The first implications of this technology largely escaped containment onto software engineers. And the irony of this is that software engineers gleefully created this technology to try to automate themselves. That was like a cool thing in 2023. And in 2024, it was sort of a kitschy thing that was like, oh, you can actually do work with this. And then now we're starting to see models that I don't think will replace software engineers, but have placed significant pressure and provided very convenient excuses for the next step. And the next step is kind of, just to put it bluntly, what happens to people's jobs who are educated? And as much as I disagree with some of the things that Alex Karp, who is the CEO of Palantir, has to say, I think he's completely right saying that the biggest effect of this technology will be largely white-collar jobs, and that in turn is the power that educated people have, educated kind of upper-middle-class people. And those people are kind of figuring out what this technology can do. They're realizing that ChatGPT isn't just kind of a joke. And what has happened this week, I believe, is a lot of people who are on the periphery of that don't do tech things, realizing what this technology can do. And the reaction has been pretty wild. In some cases, this is a reaction to the people who are creating it. There have been reactions in the Mario world and in the insurance area, which again, you should not do. And this is not a game of Factorio. But the thing is, there are these two groups, right? And so you know where I sit. I'm someone who uses this technology. I've been fortunate enough to have my own companies, and I'm somewhere in the middle. I think this technology is incredibly powerful, but I don't think it should be used to replace people. I don't think it should be used as an excuse, like Oracle did, to lay off tens of thousands of people. And I don't think it should be used in a way where it enables companies to offshore, thousands of jobs and then say, oh, we have someone in another country who can use AI, and they're just as good as an American. And I would also say that I would not believe corporate AI CEOs. And no, I'm not just bitter that a channel with less views than mine was acquired for $100 million by OpenAI. But I think this, it would be wrong to think that there is just going to be a magical parachute of universal basic income that will come from a magical place, right? In short, did the oil tycoons just give all their money away and say no one should work ever again? No. So that said, I think this technology is incredibly powerful. I think local AI is a really compelling way to take some power back and leverage this technology in a way that doesn't just let a handful of companies kind of monetize and sell back the sum total of human intelligence to people who want to do productive things. I think there's a lot to be said there. So the biggest point of this video, and again, there's going to be a longer video coming soon, but I think we have to think really carefully about how this technology will benefit certain people. We're starting to see models like Mythos, which are so powerful, so these companies claim, that common people like us can never see them. And the question is, if they only let Microsoft and huge corporate companies use them, what benefit does that have for any of us? The irony now is that the best models to use on local AI hardware, even after Anthropic accidentally leaked all of Claude code, is that they're not from America, they're from China. They understand why there's immense value in that. And George Hotz has some very interesting takes on this that I think are very accurate. So I didn't mean for this video to be too pointed. This might sound like kind of a stream of consciousness. This is not me crashing out like Theo. Theo does that for money from OpenAI. But I think there are a lot of things we should all think about, and not just to think that these actions are a psyop or that these actions are, desperate, insane people. Again, this is not the kind of thing we should be condoning or really even supporting in a developed country. But the thing is people's lives are changing abruptly, and there are big companies like OpenAI that have wildly lobbied against rules to curtail this, against rules to understand the impacts. And this happens on both sides of the aisle. The irony is, in theory, what is now supposed to be the party of the working class has promulgated the notion that there's a federal law that there should be no laws about how AI is used for 10 years, which I think is crazy. And I don't intend for this channel to be political. I don't really care much for politics, but this will affect our lives going forward. So sorry if this video sounds kind of different than me recommending which GPU is best for local AI in 2026. But I think this stuff is important. If there are any specific things you want me to cover in the next video about this, let me know. I have some really interesting interviews with some people. And yeah, I hope that it sparks some discussion about what we want to do going forward. So as always, I hope you have got something to think about from this video. Hopefully you'll learn something from the next video, and I'll see you in the next one.